All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the year again. The Game Awards. I have a problem. Who doesn't, right? There's always a problem every year. Flooding the inbox of everybody who they think's responsible as if they give a fuck, right? Not me. Here's my problem. It's not that my game wasn't nominated. It wasn't that, Starfield or, Spider-Man. No. My problem is less with the games that were nominated and more with how the games are nominated, what the parameters are. Let me explain. The games this year are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda. Here's my problem. Why is Resident Evil 4 up there? Why is Resident Evil 4 up there? Seriously. I mean, let's be real. This game is not a new game. It's not a new game. It's not. Right? Yeah, I know everyone's gonna be like, oh, well, it's a great game. It's been remade masterfully. Doesn't matter. A new game, a game of the year, should be a game that's original from top to bottom, built from top to bottom. This game took a blueprint, a concept that was 90%, it's 90% there. They just added new shit to it. So it's the same story, no new innovation, no new features or improvements really based on, from the ground up. Only, some utilizing the features that are already there, utilizing the story that's already there. It's not, it's like taking the Titanic and you making it 3D and IMAX and add a few new CGI scenes like they did with Return of the Jedi and then putting it in for an Oscar again. Did Return of the Jedi get a new a new video award because they added a few CGI scenes and expanded on the story a bit to make it more well-rounded, even though they did it terribly. But was that allowed? Would you allow that? Would you allow them to take the Titanic or Infinity War and add a few new scenes? Change the story just a little bit, but the game's 90% the same, but with a fresh coat of paint? Would you allow that to get another Oscar? I don't think so. I wouldn't. That's for sure. And you're going to be like, oh, well, they put a lot of new story concept. It's a DLC. It's a DLC made in-game. They took 20 years, right? You got 20 years to look at this game that's already a masterpiece. You get to add some sort of story to it, right? You put it in the game. You get 20 years to see what little gameplay features could improve over the last 20 years of power. 20 years of it. You take that, you get to rework it. You put it in the game. It's a new game. It deserves another award, even though it was already a game before. It already won before. And you've had 20 years to improve on it, and you want another award for it? To me, that doesn't make any sense. Right? You've had 20 years of brainstorming, 20 years of a certified blueprint to make this game work, and you want to put it up against games that are built from the bottom up, new concepts, new innovation, new teams, new work, entirely new work. I mean, to me, that's cheating, right? That's cheating to me. Now, don't get me wrong. Resident Evil 4, hands down the best remake we've ever seen. Okay? It's exactly how you make a remake. We've had good examples like Ratchet and Clank. They did good. They changed it. They put new aspects in the story. Everything looked the same but different. Up at the time, they had a reason to remake it. So they did it best before this. But this is definitely by far the best. No mistake. Nothing to take away from Resident Evil 4. I mean, they show Call of Duty how to correctly rehash without being a piece of shit, right? It deserves its flowers, but it should not be eligible for Game of the Year. It's not a new game. You're snubbing all of these teams and games that built it from the ground up by giving a game that was already built. You updated the graphics, you changed the features just a little bit because you've learned over 20 years that those are not as good as they can be today. And you added a little more story to it, changed it, made it better, whatever. Depending on your opinion of it, of course. You might not like the changes that were made. Most people do, however, though. So, but you had a gem. Certified gem. 20 years running, still a gem. And you add a little bit to it, and you call it a new game, and you try and take Game of the Year from all these other games. Nah, cheating. It's cheating. In my book. I mean, it did it better than anyone else. It did it better than Ratchet and Clank. It did it better than Return of the Jedi. But again, you've had years to learn from mistakes and things that they did good and apply those concepts of changing a story as well. So you had the original concept of Resident Evil. You've had mistakes made by things like Return of the Jedi trying to do the same thing. You've had good examples like Ratchet and Clank trying to do the same thing. Why is this considered a Game of the Year? Shouldn't be. I mean, why isn't Starfield up there? Why isn't Starfield up there? Most anticipated game 3 years running. Why isn't it up there? I'm going to tell you why. Because unfortunately, Starfield is the same game we continuously get from Bethesda. It is Space Skyrim rehashed, same outdated features as before. Fun, yeah. Is it hard to get a space game, a good space game? Yes, absolutely. So Starfield is definitely an option, a good option, solid. I mean, I'll handle it in another video if you want. There's better space games out there, especially today, than Starfield. But it's a good space option because it's not something you find a lot of. And it's a good play, especially if you like the Bethesda blueprint. Because again, a blueprint that's proven, right? A proven blueprint. But it's not up there for good reason. Because all the features are the same. It's still as broken as it was 20 years ago. We accepted it 20 years ago because it was a massive game for its time. We're not accepting it now. We're not. If Red Dead can take all of those features in Starfield and make them 10 times better and more realistic and still have those graphics and open world capability, then Starfield has no excuse. They did not build anything with the new engines. All they did was make things bigger. They didn't change the gameplay. They didn't take advantage of the graphics. They didn't do shit except for make things bigger, build more, go further. Nothing else new. Nothing else worth a Game of the Year. So now you have the same shit done, albeit 1,000 times better, with Resident Evil 4. It's just a fresher take of the same game. Of a proven blueprint. Right? With many other examples of what to and not to do. But that's Game of the Year? Now again, you're going to say, well, duh, it was 1,000 times better. Doesn't matter. It's not even nominated for a reason. Why is this nominated? Just because it was done so well? Nah. What about Hogwarts? It won't win because it has some problems. But it's new. It's a wild take. It's innovative. It's something we haven't seen before. Why isn't that nominated? Plenty of other options out there. Seriously.